Good Sunday morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome into our final college basketball live stream on the BettingPros YouTube channel. Hold on that, though, because we're not done. He's Terrell Furman. I'm at Perrault. We will transition from college basketball to Tuesday NBA conversations, which, Terrell, you are very well comfortable talking about. How are you on this Sunday morning? Good to see you.
Oh, I'm good. I'm great. I'm looking forward to the NBA playoffs around the corner as well. So, hey, these conversations are going to keep going. We're going to still cash tickets.
Yeah, so it's going to be Tuesday morning at 5. Sorry, Tuesday afternoon, evening till at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific time. So the same time we were doing the college basketball live stream, we're going to flip it to the NBA. Big games on Tuesday for the NBA, but more importantly, that's when the NBA playoffs really get going. So we'll have picks and plays and thoughts, future wagers, and all sorts of different ways you guys can attack the NBA playoffs coming up on Tuesday. So mark that down. It is Tuesday evening. We'll give you all of our thoughts, picks.
That's a good question for you. When does evening start for you? When do we transition from afternoon to evening?
Okay, so for me, I've always said it's 5:30. It basically goes after because you get out of work. You're working until the afternoon at 5 o'clock when most people stop working. Then it becomes the evening. So I would say 5:30. It has to get past the 5 o'clock hour. It could be 5 though. You could,
So I was thinking 5 too. I was thinking 5 too. At one point, I feel like I was like, okay, when it starts to get dark, it's evening. But you get to those summer hours, and then you're waiting until like 8. No, it can't be that late. I was thinking like 5. It felt like 5 is a good evening time. At this point, it is now evening, no longer afternoon.
Yeah, and we only get like evening in the summer, I feel like, because like in the wintertime it goes from like afternoon to
it's night. Oh no, it's night. There's no evening in the wintertime. It goes from afternoon straight and nighttime.
So we don't get that. We only get that like in the spring and the summertime where you have that elongated period where the sun just is like at like 30 35 40 degrees.
It's actually bearable to go outside in some places.
Well, here, I mean, in Vegas, I mean that's basically. See, the weird thing about Vegas in the evening time though, because the whole day the cement is getting baked. So we actually have higher temperatures in the evening than we do actually during the day because of the ground releasing all the heat that's it's been absorbing. So like it's a good time to go to the pool. Like it's actually like 100 and if it's a hot, the sun's not as bright, but the air temperature actually is hotter. So it's a weird mind thing when you're from the East Coast and you come to Vegas. You're like, why is it so hot? Like the first time I came to Vegas, it was 99 at midnight. I landed at midnight. It was 99 degrees. I was like, how could it be 99 degrees at midnight? There's no sun. Well, the heat's not coming from the sun. It's coming from the ground. So it's a whole different mind flip on this. All right, let's get into this because obviously we have a lot to get into from a national championship standpoint, but let's recap last night because it was historic. Duke blows one of the biggest leads in the history of the NCAA tournament, definitely one of the biggest in the history of the Final Four. Did Houston take it or did Duke give it away in your mind?
No, Houston took it. This is what I said. This Houston team doesn't give up. This Houston team continues to battle, and you have to get them to a close game. If you can get them to a close game, you have a chance. The turnovers are going to be there. And what was it? It was a turnover. Like they had the opportunity. I don't want to hear about the foul. I don't want to hear about all that because they went on a whole 10-minute, 11-minute run where Duke made one field goal. One field goal in 10 minutes of the game. Like that is not you blowing the game. I mean, you could try your hardest to miss shots at that point. And one field goal in 10 minutes, that was Sampson and this team saying, we're not giving up. This isn't going to be like years past. We're getting past this round, and we're going to give them everything till the final buzzer. That's why you never give up.
I mean, it really is wild to see when you go back and we'll break. I mean, everybody will have their full diagnostic, but when you score the final 9 points of a game in the final 33 seconds of a game, it just kind of shows you how everything broke right for Houston and how, yes, look, I will listen. If you tell me the referees in both games were awful, I'll give you it. I'll listen to it. I mean, the Auburn-Florida game I thought was refereed horrendously. I thought Florida was getting the short end of the stick consistently. Like every 50-50 call was going to Auburn. And I was like, when does Florida get a call? And they finally got one late, but they really were up against the referees in that game. And then we got to the Duke game, and they let them play for the most part. I was actually pretty impressed with the ability for the referees to not get involved, but then they started calling some ticky-tack stuff that I was like, what are we doing? And if you want to say that call on Cooper Flag was ticky-tack, I'll agree with you. I mean, I think that was, but did he pull Roberts? Yes, he pulled Roberts. Has that been going on the entire game? Yes. But was that a key moment where the referee was screened from how much contact there was? Because the ref who called it was actually behind both Roberts and Cooper Flag, calls the foul. Robert steps to the foul line. The guy's a 6th-year senior, and he buries both free throws. So, like, he still had to go to the line and do something that Houston had been notorious for not doing in the Kelvin Sampson era, which is hit the free throw you got to hit to knock out the Goliath, to take down the team, to complete the comeback. And they were able to do that. What do you make of, and Duke fans are angry at the offense that Duke was running. How much do you put this on John Shire for basically throwing it in neutral and not pushing tempo when they could have?
I think you gotta be willing to change something up when you're getting to the 6-7 minute mark and you've had one field goal. Like at that point, you've got to switch something up, and because you're liable of losing this game. And I think that's where this Duke team really wasn't tested many times this season. I've said it before leading in. Duke has a losing record in 1-score games this season.
Right.
Out of the amazing season that they've had, all the games they've had were blowouts. They never had to sit there and watch a team come back on them and have to push them away, keep them at bay, and be able to get that done. And Clemson shown that, hey, we can get them to a 1-score game, force them into a turnover, and win the game at the end. And that's exactly what Houston did. And so Shire deserves his bit of the blame as much as anybody else does. I don't think it's just one person on anybody on that Duke staff, but it's just more of everybody entirely was not ready for this situation, whereas Kevin Sampson and this Houston team had been here, done it before, and they were prepared.
With all that said, and I agree with you, Cooper Flag still had a 12-foot jump shot to win the game. Like, he still had the shot.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, after all that, after all the, the comeback and how it all broke down, Duke still had the ball with the chance to win with the AP National Player of the Year with the ball in his hands. And Juwan Roberts on him saying, no, thank you. You're not getting close to the rim. He short-armed it. I thought Duke was tired. Can you buy into that Duke got tired?
Yeah, I could. I think that it's been a lot. And the Final Four experience, especially for a lot of young kids, like getting that experience, like they are doing media, this is not a regular week for them. And then coming into this game, you probably are a little fatigued and on top of practice, on top of playing in the game and giving everything you did in the game. And the fact that the game was so physical defensively,
right.
Like it wasn't a regular game. Like they were battling and you were using way more effort than you probably was in any game in the entire tournament thus far. So yeah, I definitely think fatigue probably did play a factor.
Yeah, I thought the legs were gone, including on the last shot by Cooper Flag. I thought the legs for the entire team, I thought Houston just did body blow after body blow, and it eventually caught up. Like in the first half, Duke was able to handle it, and Duke was able to absorb it and hit threes, go up tempo. But as the game progressed, Houston just kept playing their game, their steady game. And really, I think a key moment in that game, and we'll get on this, and then we'll get to, obviously, the championship game with Houston and Florida tomorrow night. When you look at the way that Houston closed the first half, where they hit 4 consecutive threes, and the lead went really from 14 all the way down to 6 very quickly, that I thought was the key moment in that game, because that cut that lead down and made it so it wasn't an insurmountable amount of points they had to come back from.
At that point, it's a 2-score game. A turnover here, turnover there, possession change here, jump ball there, whatever, and you're back in the game. Like it was. I would hate to tout a game script, but the only thing that was wrong about that game script that I was wrong about is that Houston didn't win the first half. Other than that, coming back and forcing them into that possession in that type of game, and it's like in the NFL when you have Derrick Henry or this power running back, and you're like, all right, we're just gonna run it. You may not be tired in the first quarter.
Right.
When we get to the third quarter, when we get to the fourth quarter, you're going to have dead legs and we're going to run straight through you and close the game out. That's exactly what Houston did.
All right, Terrell, you host Fast break bets every single weekday here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel and where you get your audio podcasts. If folks haven't tuned in, what will they hear and see each day when you're breaking down the NBA?
Oh, well, you're not going to hear me talking about this guy on your screen right now. That's for certain. I think his season might be wraps here in the next few days here.
Yep.
But I don't know if we're going to see him again. We're probably not even going to see him in this uniform again. Honestly,
Right.
We need to like screenshot this flyer right here because this might be the last time that Katie is seen in the Suns uniform. But that's what you're going to get from Fast Break Bets. You're going to get the banter like that from me, and we're going to get a whole bunch of bets in basketball. WNBA is on the way. We're going to have a great season. It's my best sport. Can't wait.
Should be a lot of fun. So you guys can get that on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, do so right now so you do not miss any episodes of Fast Break Bets. All right, let's talk futures. So I know you have both Houston and Florida, right? You're on both sides?
Yep.
What are the prices on either one?
So on the Florida side, I have them at 4-1. Nothing big. Got it before the tournament, but I do have Houston at 10-1. So
okay,
I have a larger number on Houston, and I'm still gonna bet the game because I'm a degenerate, but I'm very, very happy about how the national title game played out.
Absolutely, me too. I mean, this is what I picked. This is my bracket. This was my championship game. I have a 10-1 on Florida, and I decided to not take the 4-1 and roll it over and do the rollover with Houston, which turned out to be very profitable because I won 5 units already on Houston versus having to come in. I won 4 units on the rollover, and then I won the unit. Really, I won more than that last night, but on the money line and on taking the 5.5 last night, I won both bets there. So I'm over 5 units on Houston. So the title game for me at 10-1 with Florida, I'm going to sit. I've thought long and hard about this because I could take a pregame position and I could say, all right, I'll take it at plus whatever it is, 105 plus 110 right now, but I'm going to wait to in-game this. And I know you said you're going to bet it, so I'll ask you how the game's going to go in a second. But I'm going to take an opportunity. I'm going to take 3 units with Houston, and I'm going to wait to see if Florida can get out to a quick start and see if I can get 2-1 or 3-1 on Houston coming back and put 3 units down on that, and then just kick my heels up and be good and basically come away with 5 or 6 units on either side, regardless who winds up winning this. I do think there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process for both teams. But I like Florida's physicality in this game. They are favored by 1. The bookmakers are letting the pros dictate the line. Florida -1. Do they win the national championship, or do you think your Houston ticket's going to cash?
This is a catch-22, and it's really, really tough because I really, really have fallen in love with both of these two teams. But I think it's Sampson's time. I do. I think the coaching and how he is and how he's gotten this team prepared for late game situations, I feel pretty good about how they can play defense on Clayton Jr. that if it makes me like their chances when we get to the final seconds of the game. And so that's what it is for me. It's literally Sampson versus Walter Clayton Jr. That's the matchup. What is Sampson defensively going to do against him? And what is Walter Clayton Jr. just going to do with the basketball when he gets the ball in his hands? Because that's what it's going to take for them. He's been the best player of the entire tournament. Like, not even just his team, the entire tournament up to this far. Win or lose, he's been the best player up to this point. And so I think that you have to try to find a way to neutralize him, not only in just the final minutes of the game, but also neutralize him over the course of the game to kind of give yourself a chance at the end. I think offensive rebounding is going to be really, really big. And these are two teams that are very good on that aspect. But I think Houston's just going to be a little bit more physical, push Florida off their spots a little bit more, make this a defensive game. So I'm back in Houston. But like I said, you're grabbing at straws here. I think it really is a 50-50 game.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be a really good national championship game. The last time we saw 2 number 1 seeds from 4 number 1 seeds, it was Memphis and Kansas, and it went to overtime. So we had an incredible final in the wake of what happened the last time we've seen this, where 4 number 1 seeds wind up making it to the final 4. Be very curious to see what people are doing, in terms of the money coming in on the ticket prices, because Houston is not far from San Antonio. There was a large contingency of Houston Cougar fans who were there last night. There's going to be even more who who are going to be there in the Alamo Dome for the championship game up against Florida. It's going to be not a home game, but it's going to be 75%.
So what I'll also tell you is that I was watching the beginning of that Florida Auburn game, and the national anthem was playing. By the way, somebody got hit with the good idea fairy and thought it was a good idea to have student athletes from the 4 teams sing the national anthem, and they sounded horrible together.
Bad idea.
Never met each other before, just different random sports players that I guess could sing, but whatever, horrible plan. But they took a minute, shouted out a player from each team. Florida had a pop in the arena when the Florida player got announced. I remembered that, and I was like, oh, the Gators are out there in full force. So I understand that what's your point, but I will give Florida that credit. I remember hearing them get ready to sing that national anthem, and I was like, okay, they announced a Florida player, and it was a pop that I was like, oh, they are deep in there. So fans are definitely turned out big.
Who is buying the Duke tickets? That's the question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Which fan base is buying
Which fan base is dying up the Duke tickets?
Going to buy the Duke tickets, because those are the tickets that are going to be available for all the Duke fans that bought it expecting to be in the national championship game. So I'll be very curious about that, is how many Gator fans, look, SEC teams travel, like we know, national championship game on a Monday. You're flying today to get up to the game tomorrow. So let's see what that building's going to feel like, because if it is going to be heavily Houston, that could be a factor here just from a feel inside the arena. Thomas puts up a pretty interesting thing in the chat. Seth, throw that up there, because if this is, I don't know if this is actually true, because I didn't bet the rollover on Duke. That scared me. So I just bet it individually. I didn't take the full lot. But if you take away the Duke money line, so I was betting, in the early part of the tournament, I was taking Houston and taking the Houston money and rolling it into Duke, Florida moneyline parlays to help, just because I figured Houston was going to win the game. So there wasn't a big payout. So like, okay, let's help the bank roll out. So I bet that twice with Duke and Florida moneyline parlay, take that money. And then I rolled it over from the Sweet 16 on. We started rolling it over. He said, if you kept it going, if Houston wins the game, it would be a plus 1570 parlay. So that would be $100 to pay out $1,570 for that.
That Duke, the Duke plus money, and then the game being short pick 'em here like that. Yeah.
So you have two very big. I mean, you'd be taking $400 into the Duke game, in which you are getting, absolutely, because right. So you would have been getting 2-1 last night. So that would have been for, if you rolled that second game over. So that would have been, it would have been about $1,500 that you'd be betting right now, about $900. I think it's more than that, actually.
A little bit more.
I think it's more than that you'd be betting into, because I think you would have about $900 rolling into that game on Monday night, betting on Houston to win the national championship, because the number is short for them. It's only -1. So I mean, it's plus, you're just going to.
It was a great year to choose to do this.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. It was a great year to do it for first, because I looked at the numbers and I was like, I don't think I'm going to get the best price at 4-1. I'm going to roll it over and let's go ahead and just attack Houston in a different way, because I already had the 10-1 on Florida, and that was how my bracket was going to play out. What do you make of the total? Because I think this game at 142, it's already been bet down. It's 141.5 at certain books. Offshore is 141. This feels like an under game, does it not?
I think it depends on what side you're on.
Okay.
If you're on the Houston side, then you probably would say that this is an under game, and they slowed the tempo down. They made it really, really defensive. They kept Florida off of their spots. They gave themselves a chance in the game. But if Florida goes out there and runs tempo and is able to get up and down the floor with little resistance, and Florida's going to put up a number of points here, and Houston still has the offense where you see this Houston team not quit, not give up. They could come from behind, put up a whole bunch of points, push that total over. So I could see that. I think it depends on which side you're on. If you're on the Florida side, I think you like over a little bit more. If you're on the Houston side, I think you like under. Yeah,
it's fair. Favorite in the over and dog in the under.
So I'm on under. I like Houston. I like under.
I think if you're on Houston, I think you can bet the under. I think that's a fair point. I think Florida can win an under game. It's hard to see it just from
they won an under game yesterday too.
Yeah, tempo perspective. I mean, again, Houston is 360th in tempo, and you're taking on the Florida Gator team, which tempo wise is one of the fastest in the country at 59. So they want to run. Florida's won 11 straight games. This is a 1-point loss, Kempon believes Houston wins. Okay. If you want to go off KenPom believes Houston's going to win this game 72-71, which is pretty much right on the number from a total perspective. So you see why the number is being set where it's set. KenPom's got it at 143, 142. Now it's 141.5. My guess is it's going to keep on going down. I am very concerned about if I was going to bet the total here, I would only do it in game because I want to see what this defensive effort for Houston's going to be. Because the one thing that always translates is is defense. And we know what Houston's going to do. It's why they won the game. They put the clamps down on Duke in the final 10 minutes, and Duke was tired. So Duke couldn't do anything. If Florida has even a little bit of fatigue, and it would only be natural. You're playing in a Final Four game up against Auburn. You were down at halftime. You had to rally. You had to play a really tough second half. And frankly, it has to be somebody else besides Walter Clayton Jr. for Florida that's going to win this game because everyone on the planet knows what Kelvin Sampson's going to do. It's going to be somebody else. So it's going to have to be Richard. It's going to have to be somebody else who's going to put the ball in the basket consistently early in that game for Florida. And if that happens, if somebody burns Houston and they got to adjust on the fly, that could open up Walter Clayton Jr. Then you get the points that are going to roll. So I'm hoping for an early start, a good start for Florida, and then I can jump in on Houston. But if you ask me, like, what do I think I would, who wins the game late? I think it's hard to not look at Houston and look at the offense, look at the defense, and they're hitting their foul shots. If Houston does what they did last night, which is hit foul shots, if they hit the key, most important moments, if they're putting the ball in the basket, either behind the arc or at the free throw line, they're going to win this game. And it's always been about the offense for Houston. We know about their defense. We know about their rebounding. It's always been about the offense. If Florida can get this thing into a turnover fest back and forth, that's one way. But my goodness gracious, are we talking about Houston so experienced? Like they have been here so many times. It's really hard to see them not performing under pressure, right?
Yeah. And I think I feel that way about both teams to the point where how I'm probably playing it, I'm going to have my Houston play. I'm going to have my Houston first half play that I always play. But even regardless of what happens in the first half, if anybody goes on a run in this game and I'm getting, 2 possessions, maybe even more on the other side, oh, absolutely, immediately in game, regardless, because both of these two teams have been comeback kids. Like as the 1 seed, they've both been comeback kids. So I think that regardless who gets out early in this game, I'm 100% fine coming in and betting the other side, catching a nice middle there possibly. But I think that this is going to be coming down to the wire, probably a couple of possessions, maybe be sweating out fouls at the end on whether this gets to be a 2-possession or 3-possession game.
It's a good point. I mean, you look at the Florida run, right? So they killed Norfolk State, but against UConn, they absolutely had to rally. They won by 2. It came down to the very end of that game. Maryland was a little bit of a walk for them, but then against Texas Tech, that was an absolute war against Texas Tech. They were down in the second half in that game, had to rally, come back and win that game. They were down at the break against Auburn. They had to come back and win that game. They've covered these numbers, but it's mostly been because of the late game foul shots and what has happened late for Florida to come in and win and cover. It's not like they've been killing people in this tournament. And for Houston, I mean, kind of a similar thing. The Gonzaga game was an absolute war. They could have lost that game. The Purdue game came down to the final shot. They're down at the half. It came down to the final shot for them. The Tennessee game was the game that they housed them. And then the Duke game was an absolute war. So, I mean, we're talking about 3 teams that they've been fortuitous, getting the right bounce at the right time in 3 of their 5 games to get to the national championship game. So they're both battle tested. They both have experience at the point guard position. They both have really good bigs, and they both have shot the 3 really well here in this tournament. So do you think Florida's defense has been slept on a little bit, though? Because we spent a lot of time talking about Houston. Do you think Florida's better defensively than people think?
I think they're actually really good defensively. I just, at this point, offense is going to trump really, really good defense. And so the better your defense is, the more you're going to need it. Because at this point, you're looking for timely stops. You're not going to get stops the entire game, and that's fine. You're in the national championship, but you need to be able to get stops and in runs when you can.
Yeah, it's really true. I mean, KenPom numbers are wild. Houston's number 1 in efficiency defensively, obviously. We all know that. But Florida's 9th. Yeah. Houston is 3rd in effective field goal percentage. Florida's 5th. Like, they're not horrible. 3-point defense, they're 6th. Houston 17th, 2-point defense. Florida's 22nd. Houston's 5th. I mean, both these teams defensively, And the toughness of Florida showed in the second half of that game against Auburn. They started to push them around. And I think if you're looking for a whistle, you're not going to get it in this game. I mean, the referee, this is a championship game. The referees are going to let Houston play. And I think Florida's got to be able to match that physicality. They did that in the second half. They got to dictate that a bit more here in this game tomorrow night and really make it into kind of, I mean, Florida might have to win a street fight. I mean, if Houston really wants to kind of muck this game up and make it into a hand-to-hand combat game, the referees, might just say, go guys, it's up to you. You have to go determine this championship. And in the wake of the heat they're taking for the foul on Cooper Flag, you wonder how hesitant the referees are going to be on a whistle here for this game coming up. So let's go with a score prediction. You like Houston to win. What's the score?
Oh man. Let's go with 69.
Ooh. Under
69. Yeah, 69 65. I'm cool with that.
I will go with the same score that I had back when this thing started. 78-73 over. Florida wins. I think their offense will prove to be too much. I think you're going to see Houston have a difficult time scoring against this Florida defense. And much like, or unlike Duke, I think Florida will have a very similar game plan, and Florida will have a very similar type of game against Houston. The difference will be is they will not collapse. They will see what happened to Duke, and they will not go that same route. And also, there's more scorers for Florida off the bench than there was for Duke. So Florida can run more kids off and has more scoring weapons. While I don't think Walter Clayton Jr. has a big first half, he could have a big second half. And that's what happened against Auburn. He got going, he started hitting shots, and then you'll see some panic because when that kid gets going, I mean, he might be the most clutch.
Can't stop him.
He might be the most clutch guard in the tournament. It's not that the kid takes. It's not that the kid takes the shot. It's that he takes the shot and makes the shot. Like all the time. Every time they need a big shot. Every time it's like, oh my gosh.
It was one time they fouled him going to the rim, and I swear he flew into like the first row, and he still banked the shot in. And I'm like, oh my god,
that 3-point play was nuts. Yeah, that was,
he pushed him in the back. He went into like the front row. Do you know how hard it is to bounce the ball off the back of the backboard, and you're going that fast forward?
Yeah.
Like he went to the front row.
He with his right hand going left, he went hard, and he leaned and banked it in, got fouled, hit the free throw. So, I mean, Walter Clayton's on a different level at the moment. So I'll go Florida 78-73. But again, in game it, if you have tickets, I know people have been asking us questions like, what do I do? If you have tickets on both sides, you literally can do nothing. Like, don't feel like you have to get involved. If you have a Houston future and a Florida future, you don't have to get involved. If you do, though, you can take a position pre-game and then work off of it in game because you're already good. You're already going to be profitable. You know the game's going to make you money. So now it's just a matter of how many plus on both sides. Like Terrell was saying, if you get +6 at some point on Florida, take it. You get +6 sometimes on Houston, take it. Because more likely than not, this thing is going to come down to how it was last night, which is both games within 2 possessions, a 3 or 4 point win for one side or the other. And if you're sitting on +6, +7 on both sides, I mean, you're even in a better position. It's just adding onto the pile versus actually gambling per se. You're just trying to earn off this game. In closing, any final thoughts?
No, man. I feel like it was a great tournament. It was chalky, but like I don't care what chalk hits if I'm on the chalk at times. Like both of my teams are in the natty. So yeah, it was chalky, but shoot, I came out on top. So I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, betting is what makes betting fun, right? It doesn't matter if the games aren't fun. It's all about what you're doing at the window. So if you're making money, guys, remember the Daily Juice podcast with myself, Matt Perrault. I will be breaking down obviously the game tomorrow on the podcast for the national championship game. I'll explain a bit more as to what I'm doing with the 10-1 ticket that we're sitting on with Florida. Obviously good position. This is the title game. I thought like Terrell as well. Florida and Houston, the 2 best teams are going at it. You guys can get your podcasts audio wise, wherever you get your audio podcasts or on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. You get both Terrell and I with Fast Break Bets and the Daily Juice podcast. Guys, remember we are shifting to Tuesday nights for the NBA. College basketball is done. We are not. Tuesday night, 5:30, right here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. We'll get into NBA plays. We got a lot of good stuff coming with the NBA playoffs, the Western Conference. We always put up that picture of SGA, who has now scored 10 or more points, double digits in 70 straight games. Let's see what the guy winds up doing in the postseason. Can OKC shock the world and win the championship? Are the odds-on favored, or will my team go back-to-back? We'll have some fun watching the Celtics. We got Western Conference playoffs, Eastern Conference playoffs, and WNBA games as well coming at you all on Tuesday night, 5:30 Eastern time, 2:30 Pacific every Tuesday night here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. He is Terrell Furman. I'm Matt Perrault. Thank you for being here. Talk to you Tuesday night. We start the NBA. Enjoy the national championship game tomorrow night.